Jesse Fresco, Hardcore Bloodshot here with an essential read for you right now. This is one that I thought everybody should check out. It's over 20 years old at this point, but it's one of my absolute favorite comics. Transmetropolitan, written by Warren Ellis, illustrated by Derek Robinson. This came out at a time when Vertigo was very, very hot, and there was books like Preacher that were coming out. Grant Morrison's The Invisibles were coming out. It was a very timely book, very politically oriented book. The basic premise is that the main character, Spider Jerusalem, who is sort of an analog of Hunter S. Thompson. And if you know anything about Hunter S. Thompson, you know that he was fucking insane. But he was one of the best journalists, gonzo journalists at the time. And the book is sort of an interpretation of what Hunter S. Thompson would be like in a future post-apocalyptic dystopian America. It's never really referred to where it takes place. It's just known as the city. And he is called out of retirement because he has a book deal that he hasn't finished yet, and his publisher says he has to finish one more book. So he's brought back to the city, and in the opening pages he looks like Alan Moore, but then after the first about 10 pages he gets zapped with electricity and loses all his hair and looks like Spider Jerusalem covered in tattoos. Or Hunter S. Thompson covered in tattoos. It's a very political book, very graphic, offensive in many ways. Lots of swearing, lots of sex. The entire book is basically criticizing everything that is wrong with America. The racism, the sexism, the homophobia, the xenophobia, right-wing political agendas, evangelical Christians, everything that is a problem in America, this takes it to 11. This is pure Spinal Tap. It is not holding back at all, and many people have attributed the character of Spider Jerusalem to being just like Warren Ellis, and people have quoted Spider Jerusalem, but then re-quoted as Warren Ellis. That's not true. They're not the same person. Warren Ellis is actually a very nice man, but the character is so angry and just filled with hate towards the apathy of the average American that this feels like a very, very appropriate book for today. I remember when Steven Spielberg's film The Post came out in theaters, and no one saw it because even though it's a very important subject matter, it's like, who cares? It's like, yes, journalism is important, but this book, if you were to adapt this as a film or a TV show, would have way more resonance because it would really get to the anger everyone feels right now. The best quote I can think of from this book is, and I'm paraphrasing at best here, but the truth is like a bullet and journalism is a gun. And if you aim it correctly, you can blow the kneecap off the world. That one phrase has more resonance than all of Steven Spielberg's film. So there was plans to make this into a web series for the internet way, way back in the early 2000s, and Patrick Stewart was going to play Spider Jerusalem, but fell through, never could get it off the ground. Today it would be possible, but there's just not really a demand for it, unfortunately. There are still some still images you can find floating around the internet of Patrick Stewart as Spider Jerusalem, but that's the most you're going to find. It's definitely one that I would highly recommend checking out. Vertigo has been doing some republishing of the old books and sort of compiling them together. Originally, it was 11 trades. Now I think it's about like 6 or 7. They've sort of smashed 2 or 3 together into one book. It's very easy to get now. It's always in print. It's always available. It's sort of a touchstone for what was going on back in the late 90s in comics. Like this was one of the books you had to read. This and Preacher and The Invisibles, as long as some of the more popular stuff that was happening at the same time. Like I think Crisis on Infinite Earths was happening at the same time, and that was a big popular one for DC, although it was not very well received because it was just screwing up continuity, but that's a totally different story. But this is one you definitely should read. It's one of my absolute favorites. It's sort of influenced many other writers. Garth Ennis does the introduction for the first trade. Alan Moore has given high praise towards it. So if Alan Moore says it's good, it's probably something you should read. So if you get a chance, go to your local comic shop, pick this up. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. If you're as political as I am, if you're as interested in even just great storytelling or great writing, this is one you have to have. Check it out. Transmetropolitan, it's one that is essential for your collection.